before the start. Sit back and enjoy because it was a fantastic bit of action. So we're getting closer and closer. 2 sprint races this afternoon. And we hold our breath as the first row lights, second row lights. The lights go off and they're underway and explode away from the dock. And 10,000 horsepower go racing across 435 meters, now charging their way up toward the commitment buoys. And as they push along the side, Eric Stark trying to make a move. Tarante on the outside and 2. And Tarante is fighting to get himself into that number 1 spot as the green flag is officially out, as the field of drivers come whistling around. Bartek Marzawak trying to stay up into that first place position, and he got a great start. Look at the Polish driver pull away here 10 laps in, or 10 seconds ahead as he got around turn number 8. Tarente's about 10 boat lengths back. Celio is pushing hard. He started 4th. He's up into 3rd. And then a 2-boat battle between Stark and Jonas Andersen for that 4th place position.
What a start by Bartek Marcelak, the young Polish driver there. He's doing everything he needs to win this race. Came off the line. I think he was running a slightly bigger propeller than Sean Tarente, who seemed to have the legs on him. But as he increased in speed, he had a bigger propeller, more top-end speed, and he was able to get into that first turn just ahead of Tarente and start making his way forward. He's got clear water ahead of him, Steve, for a while. This is where he could really make up some ground.
All right, as you can see, Jonas Andersen trying to push up on Eric Stark, but Stark is able to pull away. Jonas Andersen dropping back. I wonder if the 2021 world champion may have a bit of a problem here, but he comes charging up on the outside. A good battle going on for 4th place, Jonathan.
Yeah, I think that Jonas has definitely got the legs on Stark there, sitting in 3rd at the moment. And you can see that Jonas is on the outside, Stark's on the inside. Jonas seemed to try and get ahead of him in that last lap. He tried to cut inside him, but he got some dirty water. It got rather rough. He had to back off, and Stark is still holding him off.
Stark out there on the right of your screen. Victory team based out of Dubai. And the 36-year-old driver from Sweden back on the tour. First time in 4 years. You got 2 Swedes right there fighting for the 4th. And in the 5th spot, trying to get up into the mix in that 4th place battle, Peter Morin, the driver out of France. But right now, the leader, Bartek Marzawak, he's holding about 2.5 seconds. I noticed that Sean Tarente in the last lap was able to pull out a few boat lengths on Sami Celio, the 2-time world champion. So he's got about a 2-second cushion right now between 2nd and 3rd place as the field comes by. Now remember, this is a shorter than normal race. This is a sprint race. So I'll tell you what, you want to do it all right now early on. There's no waiting for a good time. Right now is the good time, and you got to make hay when the hay is in the barn.
You're dead right, but look at the way that Bartek Marcelak, he's pulling away from the rest of the field, Steve. This is something that we have not seen for a long time. Tarente hanging on in 2nd, but there he is, Bartek Marcelak, sponsored by Olin, the Polish oil company, and they've got to be really chuffed at the performance that he's putting up this weekend. As you said earlier on, Steve, he's already had 2 podiums. He's been knocking on the door for the last 2 or 3 races, and he is driving his socks off out there.
Bartek Marzawak, our leader, starting his 50th race, still looking for his first victory overall. He's got 3 podiums, and he is doing his best to try to make good his escape from the 3-time world champion Sean Tarente, who's hanging right in there. The difference really between the top 5 is not much of a difference in the speed, but the top 3 are really close, within 5 seconds of each other.
Yeah, and the good thing for Bartek now is he's got that clear water for probably the next 5 or 6 laps before he starts coming up against the back markers. So this is where he can really open that gap between himself and the Abu Dhabi driver Sean Tarente in that 2nd slot.
0.3 of a second, the margin for Bartek. He has increased that on the world champion. It's up to 3.15 seconds, the difference between 1st and 2nd. Meanwhile, Tarente has gained a little bit more ground on the 3rd place, Sami Celio, who has dropped back about another half second. And then Eric Stark is 5 seconds back of Celio, with Jonas Andersen just a second behind him. So very close, the top 3. Then there's a bit of a split between 4 and 5.
Yeah, Jonas there, he certainly hasn't given up, but he's under pressure from Peter Morin, the French driver, who's pushing for all he's worth. We do know that French boat has got some serious pace out there. Watch out for the number 7 boat in the next 2 or 3 laps.
As we look at Peter Moran, the veteran driver who has replaced his ex-father-in-law, three-time world champion Philippe Shep, who stepped aside. And they brought on the American Brent Dillard out of South Carolina. The 36-year-old rookie's in the number 8 boat, but all eyes are on the number 7 machine, as this 43-year-old out of Rouen, France, is right up there where he's happy to be up in the point structure. He's in the top 6 right now, as Jonas Anderson and Peter Moran are dropping back just a tad. And Bartek Marzowak continues to increase the lead about a third of a second every lap over Sean Tarenti, who's desperately trying to stay right there with him.
Yeah, what they've got to watch now, Bartek, is that when he comes up against the back markers, which is going to be in the next 3 or 4 laps, then hopefully he can get through them. It's very important that the back markers are in communication with their crew chiefs on the bank, and they do give these front drivers a gap so that they can get through and carry on with this unbelievable battle at the front of the field.
Yeah, and you can see out in the background all the crowds that encircle this like a crescent moon. There's tremendous amounts of people. Well over 100,000 had bought tickets, and they sold it out in about 23 minutes, Jonathan. That was incredible when the tickets went out on sale. So everybody in Indonesia here this afternoon, this is the first of 2 sprint races, 18 laps, as they fight for their chance to watch speed on the water, and they're getting the world's best drivers here today.
Yeah, you can see Jonas there coming on the inside now, starting to pressurize Stark in that 4th position, Steve. I don't think it's going to be long before. And look, Jonas on the inside, he's running that boat it's his number 2 boat, so it doesn't perform as well as his main boat, which he had problems with that you pointed out yesterday. He certainly hasn't given up on this 4th position. Stark there still running cool. Jonas overshooting the turn buoy there, letting that boat run so loose on top of the water. The number 14 boat is pushing for all he's worth.
Yeah, this is the second time he's run this boat in 6 years, believe it or not. So talking with him after qualifying today, he says, yeah, I got to get a feeling for this boat. It's going to take me a while. And right now, 5 laps in, he seems a bit aggressive, and that's great for Jonas Anderson and all his fans that are here cheering him on. He missed the World Championship last year by 10 laps. He had the championship in his pocket. He almost became a 2-time world champion, but for the first time in all of 2022, he had a mechanical problem. He dropped out with just 10 laps to go, and Sean Tarenti, who had been in a tremendous crash, was sitting with wet clothing on in the paddock, all of a sudden realized that, hey, I'm the new world champion.
Yeah, Stark watching him in his mirrors there. As you can see, Jonas comes through the right-hander, takes a tighter line. The problem is, when you take the tighter line, you tend to scrub off a little bit of speed, but he's still there with him. You can see Stark there, turning tight on the boys, watching every move of Jonas. It looks to me like Stark knows exactly where he is, and he knows what to do to hold up the pressure that Jonas is putting on him.
No, looks like Marit Stromoy is dropping out.